Everest mountaineers say one of the most perilous sections is when they have to navigate their way through the Khumbu icefall on the South Col route. They put themselves at the mercy of giant tumbling ice blocks and deep crevasses. Well, that danger is set to get worse as global warming and human activity continue to destabilise the Khumbu glacier. The problem has prompted Nepal to announce it will move Everest Base Camp to a safer site with no year-round ice. Well, for mountain guide Alan Hinks, Everest Base Camp is a home away from home. Alan became the first Briton to climb all 14 of the world's 8,000-metre peaks, and he joins me now from North Yorkshire. Welcome to the programme. You know this base camp very well. Were you expecting something like this to happen? Just describe what it was like at base camp on the recent times you were there.
Yeah, well, I guess, welcome to North Yorkshire as well, by the way. It's breezy and hot here, but a bit grey. But, yeah, base camp, it can be hot when the sun's out because you're close, you're in a thinner atmosphere. But basically, the air temperature is very rarely above freezing. It's a bit like a medieval encampment, really. You're living in tents, but these are modern tents. So it's a bit of a dichotomy, and you've got Wi-Fi from satellites. In fact, nowadays there is a 4G signal at base camp. In fact, you've probably got a better signal than you have in parts of North Yorkshire, to be frank. There are toilets there now. People take toilets up. It's an interesting sort of place, if you see, a bit medieval but a bit modern, and obviously you have to deal with sewage problems as well.
OK, and I think on that point, without going into too much detail, I mean, human urine is causing quite a few problems there. Maybe you can address that in a moment. But in terms of the damage, the melting of the glacier around it and the danger that poses for climbers like you, just talk us through that.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I mean, the sweeping statement is that, global warming, climate change, whatever you want to call it, and the glaciers are melting and receding somewhat. But that's been happening for a long time. I think it's a bit simple to say it's just, global warming. I'm sure man has had some sort of impact. But where I'm sitting now in North Yorkshire, several thousand years ago, we were under an ice sheet, probably half a kilometre thick. So that sort of change has been happening for a long time. And people say, well, as the glaciers melt on Everest, it's going to make it more dangerous. Well, it might, but it might make it safer. We don't really know. But, I mean, a sweeping statement is, as the ice melts, it can loosen rock on the mountain, so you can get more rockfall, which makes it more dangerous. But once that rockfall's swept away, who knows? It could make it safer. But so I'm playing devil's advocate, actually. We always say that it's going to make it more dangerous, But someone has actually tried to find another way through the so-called dangerous icefall in Everest this year. A French climber, Marc Battard, has made another route through, which may be safer. We don't know yet.
OK, just briefly, because we haven't got a lot longer left, the new base camp is going to be a bit lower. Is that sad for you, sad news, or doesn't really matter?
No, it's not sad. I think it could be safer. If there's an avalanche higher on the mountain, you're lower down. It does mean you have to, climb a little further, I guess. No, I think that could be OK, putting it a little bit lower down, yeah. And, yeah, no problem.
Have you got another ascent in your books?
Plenty of unclimbed mountains, unnamed mountains in the world. I did climb an unclimbed mountain once. I call it Peak Fiona after my daughter. So maybe things like that. Everest, will I do it again? Might do if there's an interesting project on Everest, filming or something like that.
Alan, I've got to cut you short. We're out of time. Thank you very much indeed. Enjoy the weather. Bye.